Montgomery Economic Development Corporation meeting on March 19th, 2024. We have a quorum. Arnett Easley, Carol Langley, Dan Walker, and Casey Nelson. Almost did the Nelson thing. Yeah, there you go, Olson. And sorry, I went Nelson on you, didn't I? I got stuck with Wade Nelson. And so we have public speakers today, correct? All right, so we're going to open it up to the floor for public speaking, and we will start with Ms. Fox. Cheryl, no? You're with her? Okay, so we'll start with Sarah. Sarah Countryman.
Good evening, and hello, MEDC Board. I want to address item number 5 on tonight's agenda. On item number 5, under discussion portion of the agenda reads that Casey Olson requested an on-street parking concept for McCowan to be discussed in possible action. Under the, quote, analysis piece, the Assistant City Administrator wrote, this item is new to staff, and the first step for MEDC is to consider whether the board to move forward. I'm confused as to why staff is stating this is a new item. I have in my hand a timeline that I've created, the subject of McCowan. It's about a half-inch thick. And since 2018, the city has been discussing these improvements. I included meeting dates, whether it was a city council meeting or MEDC meeting, item numbers, and highlights of discussions, which included drainage, water, sewer improvements, parking concepts, traffic flow, traffic pattern ideas, all of these things to consider. August 21st, 2023, which is 7 months ago, was the last time McCowan was on an agenda, and that was an MEDC agenda. In this meeting, McCowan Streetscape parking design was put on hold by MEDC. If this subject is quote-unquote new per the analysis on your agenda, I'm concerned that staff is lost and needs reminding that council and MEDC have been working on this for years and spent several hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars already. This is not a new subject nor a new idea. As a resident and taxpayer, I'm asking MEDC not to create a new wheel, but to stay on course of where we are and the ground we've already covered. McCowan needs help, and taxpayers, downtown businesses, and visitors alike all agree. Now that the water lines have been upgraded, I hope the board moves forward and builds on ideas already presented to ensure progress and success in the near future. Happy to share what I have in hand. And also, there is a potential new buyer for the Joe Shockley property, and so I think we should take the feedback from that potential new buyer too, because they're going to be the full eastern side of that, or most of the eastern side of that. So I'm asking MEDC to table it this evening. If you have any questions, I'm always happy to available to answer and pass along what I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Cheryl, you're up. Ms. Fox.
Oh, I'm not here. Again, my name's Cheryl Fox, and this is about number 5 also. And I know we've talked about this for a long time, but right now, because there's so much going on, as she said, there's a potential buyer for the Shockley property. There's a potential for other areas there too, and just the fact of making it a one-way street from Caroline to College is what my understanding is, which is right in front of the steakhouse. Unfortunately, I travel that pretty often since I go to the steakhouse almost definitely. So, well.
You don't need to talk to me.
Okay, talk to them. Okay, so here's the thing. I really feel like that I don't think you should maybe disband it or anything, but I would certainly like to see it put at least put on hold for right now and to not work towards doing anything.
Can I ask a question? When you say the Shockley property,
I'm sorry. I assume that everybody in town knows what that we're talking about. It is that one strip that is the Garrett house all the way to Yo Mama's Barbecue. That whole entire piece.
Yes, it's been up for sale for a while though, right?
Almost 2.5 years.
Okay, so there's a potential buyer is what you're saying, possibly?
Potentially.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. I didn't know there was a buyer for that.
But you never know.
You just never know. Okay.
They could fall out tomorrow too.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
All right. Thank you, Cheryl.
But anyway, I would really appreciate it if y'all don't move forward with this tonight. Thank you.
And our third speaker, Ms. Shannon Reed.
Good evening, board. It's good to see all of you. Thank you for letting me just come and give you a little update. I noticed in last month's minutes there were some questions, and it probably was very short, but I just thought maybe it'd be a good time to come and update you. And I apologize that I did not have my paperwork in for this meeting for Freedom Fest, but we will be having Freedom Fest, and one of the things MEDC has graciously partnered with us on is helping us with ample police at that event. It is not a moneymaker for the chamber, but it's a great partnership for the city, and we are still interested in that partnership, so I will submit that paperwork ASAP. It's just been kind of a whirlwind since we started 2024, and that's why I wanted to update you. The chamber, if I ask any of you in this room, maybe I'll get a different answer for each one of you what the role of a chamber is in a community. And you know, it's funny, in the chamber industry, we have a saying, when you've seen one chamber, you've seen one chamber. And that's really to say that every chamber should be serving its community for the needs of that particular community. And I think that's really a beautiful description of a chamber, but it does touch the heart of the business community. And I don't want to belabor this whole conversation, but I want to give you a tiny backstory. So when we had the discussions in 2014 and became a chamber in 2015, we really didn't see where the trajectory of how our businesses and community would develop. And as we have moved along, we've had a lot of residential growth, but not necessarily in that primary jobs category. And when you look at the funding structure for how a chamber operates, typically those larger corporation donors are the sustainability track for a chamber, so that they can then turn around and help the smaller businesses. Because a startup business, a young business, a small mom and pop business, they don't have those extra funds, and especially when a year gets tight, like we're in right now, to really support another organization besides themselves. But we want to still be able to serve the community. So the challenges economically certainly got our attention, and we have to consider all of these things as we're looking at where we are today. So back in December, we sent out a poll to all of our member businesses, and currently our chamber is at 240 members strong. So I'm very proud of the work that we've done to support our business community in the Montgomery area. There's no doubt about that. But we got some really incredible feedback from all of our businesses about what's right in front of them, the challenges they face, what are they anticipating going forward, what are their needs. And we got 3 distinct answers. The first one, everyone across the board says they're doing more with less. And I think we can all agree that's the condition we live in. So the discretionary spending is less, their consumers have less to spend with them, their profit margins are less, their workers are less, so they're having to shoulder more. And that's taking away their ability to support things like the chamber, for example. Then they're needing to increase their client base and their exposure, right? So they need to get in front of more people. And really, in turn, to us says they need us to do more to provide more opportunity for them, but they have less to share with us. So that dynamic is playing out in our chamber as well. And then finally, they really have a desire to create a great culture in their workplace so that they can recruit and retain quality workforce. That's a challenge in our community. Well, it's all over, but here as well. And hearing from them, you know, one of the hallmarks of our chamber that I'm very proud of is that people see us as customer-centered, value-based, and relationship-driven. And I think that reflects the hospitality of Montgomery and and the culture that we want to put forward. And so when we're looking at providing value, the first thing our board wanted to do going into 2024 is to answer those top three issues that are facing our business community. So of course, we're looking to leverage partnerships. How can we work with existing neighbors and partners, things that we've already been doing? But at the end of it all, it wasn't enough to fill the gaps. And on those minutes from last month, you were asking about WineFest, and I'll just make this side comment. WineFest had become the mechanism to fill the gap, but our chamber's model has always been more leaning on the event revenue for sustainability. We didn't have M&O covered by membership dues, and probably no chamber in the world does. They do lean on extra revenue, but every time we have to shoulder another event, it takes our time and resources away from providing the real value that our businesses need in the advocacy, education, helping with training, or even just support of engagement with one another and connecting our businesses together. It was taking us farther and farther away from our mission is what was happening. So the board asked the hardest question of all, and that was, what if we fully partnered with our neighbors and took some of the operational duplication out of this equation? So our friends in Conroe operate the same software. They have a whole team of staff that do duplicate things between rent and insurance and software and all of those other things. If we could combine forces, what would that mean to our members for value? So they are doing more with less. If we combine, we already share over 30% of our members and 50% of those from the top end. Because as you see, we don't have those primary jobs over here. We're borrowing those resources from down the road, and they're even strategically shrinking some of their investments as well. So this could be a savings. Instead of duplicating just membership dues, they can deepen their investments in both communities. So that was a win. We put a check in that box. And then increasing exposure to a bigger client base, that made sense. Because here, while we do have a network pool that we're creating, I'll be honest, when it comes to business, our businesses can't survive on just the client base of Montgomery alone. They're already partnering and networking to get their clients all around this region. So that made sense to broaden their client base. And then finally, more resources, obviously, that we could tap into. And most importantly, one of the things that has always limited me is being a one-man show. I feel like that monkey with the drum and the cymbal and the horn and the whole thing. This would give us more resources that would leverage our time and talents better so that we could spend, instead of duplicating all of our operations, we could then be more strategic on the things that matter most for the community, for building the community, helping our businesses, advocacy that I love. Yeah. I'll take a trip to Austin any day. So those kinds of things. I really was out of time to be able to help and do things that really bring value. At the end of that whole list, it made a whole lot of sense, and we checked a lot of green boxes. But there was still a little bit of reserve, and you're going to know exactly what I mean. Everyone in here believes the same thing. Yeah, but we're Montgomery. We love Montgomery. We are proud as this group, and I get it. I absolutely do. And I said the same thing. In fact, our whole board did. One of the things that I go back to, you've seen one chamber, and I bet everyone in here would have a different opinion of what a chamber should be doing. When I think back to the thing that Montgomery would love the most, It comes back to a welcome center, a place that we can collect visitors, new residents to town, new businesses, some point of contact where they could buy the flag. Yes, you sell them here, but a point where we could direct people. Almost a physical and maybe a virtual landing page that we could send people in various directions. So as we started these discussions, that opportunity actually became available. And when our board started looking at all of the things that Montgomery wants, needs, and desires, a welcome center has always been one of those things we have dreamed of and wanted to get to and weren't getting to anytime soon. And as I was looking ahead at my next 10 to 15 years of work life, I wasn't seeing us getting there any quicker. But Conroe has graciously stepped up to the plate and said they would like to partner to bring that to life. And I think that could be a huge star in the crown for Montgomery physically here, a place that would bring people where we could then host and hub all of those little activities that we have been trying to do as a chamber as well. I don't think anyone is going to miss the operational piece coming out of Conroe rather than a Montgomery address, and here's why. I bet 3 of you have been in my office ever. So you don't even know where it's located. So I've been pretty virtual anyway. We do our events in town, and that's how that will continue. All of our signature events will not happen in a chamber office. They won't happen in Conroe. We will continue to have all of our presence here. In addition to that, we hope to bring a focus group together of stakeholders so that we can even create not a Montgomery area chamber logo brand, not a city brand, but this welcome center will have all of the reflection of the character of Montgomery. And I think that will be the stamp that gets put on things. It won't read Conroe on our things that we do. But that operational side housed out of Conroe will take a load of work off my plate and make me more available for Montgomery and the whole area. So I think this is a really exciting moment in our chamber's development because I think it will leverage the things that we need to be able to move this idea forward. So the merge actually has already taken place. We did this discussion with our membership and they graciously voted 100% in favor. It was an amazing day. It was an amazing day. It didn't have to go that way. And I'm so blessed that it did, that they could see that our hearts were for the benefit of the businesses. We wanted to put their needs first and not our own, because we're not here to serve ourselves. We're here to serve them. So I'm excited about the opportunities. We, again, will keep our signature events. So by and large, I don't think anyone will miss that the bills for the businesses come out of a Conroe location as opposed to a Montgomery address. I don't think anyone will miss that. But our event staying here is very important on both sides. We're looking forward to a bigger regional footprint and impact because the lines between Montgomery and Conroe continue to disappear. And those people that are coming over here to partner with our businesses in our community and residents are fabulous. And I enjoy getting to know each and every one of them. So I just wanted to share with you all of this exciting news. And as we've been looking forward to locations for the Welcome Center, there might be an opportunity for the city to come together and partner with us. Maybe it's to help contribute some kind of funds toward the space, and then perhaps we host information that is citywide. You know, typically you think of a chamber as a member-based organization, which it is, but this partnership will support the entire city in addition to. So we definitely want to keep that whole community mindset, not just a member base only, so that we can support that. And I'm sure that many of you on your travels have experienced a sweet small town that has a welcome center that is funded and operated by the chamber. in a partnership with the city. I think it has great potential, and there's lots of great examples out there that we can pull from.
I got a great idea. It's a little off the beaten path, but I think Dave will give up his office, and that's a good starting spot.
Will it be a standalone center, or will it be will it be a standalone?
Standalone,
I'll
yeah.
tell you what, for right now, as quickly as possible, we want a foot in the door. We are talking downtown. We're not talking outside or at Kroger or out of the city limits. We are talking in town. We are looking at various properties that have vacancies right now, but it's a foot in the door. Once things begin to unfold, like the plans you're talking about with different pieces to downtown, we would love to be a part of the conversation, because that's going to be that gateway to all of the beautiful end result, like a Hallmark version of downtown.
Is there anything that obligates Conroe to do any of this?
What do you mean obligates?
A welcome center. As far as, if I'm Conroe, I don't really care what Montgomery does. So is there anything that obligates them? Yeah, they're going to tell you everything you want to hear.
It's in a,
But will they actually say, yes, we're going to provide a welcome center?
it's in the contract signed by both. It's a
It's
legal. It's contractually obligated.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What kind of motivation is there to make them do that?
Well, we've already been doing all of it, so I think they're motivated.
Okay.
Okay.
The point is,
Is there a timeline on it?
yeah, is there a timeline? This could go on. If I'm Conroe, I don't really care if y'all ever get what you want.
Right.
Yeah, let's be honest. Conroe is focused on Conroe
True.
at the end of the day. So how do we make them, how do we motivate them to show interest in Montgomery?
So far, they already have, and their goal is to be in, they brought the Welcome Center to the table for us. We didn't bring it to them. It was their motivation to begin with. I think one of their goals is not to have another split off of a chamber. So by keeping the Welcome Center presence, they can make the chamber side of things, which is that business support side, to be regional. They're looking to be a regional support center. So having the Welcome Center, they've already done one in Willis. It's small, but it's on its way to where it's going. And so they've already placed that model in place when they brought this up on our end as well. It is in the contract, and we're done with our space March 31st, and so by April 1st, we should be in our new location.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm asking, I can see where the businesses that are chamber members benefit because they get a much larger spectrum. I'm just trying to figure out, from locally, why Conroe would care anything about what happens here. Because, historically, they don't care. Yeah, historically, our commissioners don't care. Historically, Congress doesn't care.
Understandable, but we're working with the chamber, not those government entities.
Right.
And so the chamber has a bit of a different motivation from the aspect of the regional look of a business community. A lot of the people who have businesses in Conroe do live in Montgomery, so there's some synergy already there.
Sure.
So they are putting out an olive branch to bring us all together. It is an instant boost for our members joining their roster. There's certainly that.
Right.
So that is a benefit to them, but this is a way that we can come together as a region instead of being three divided communities around the lake. So they have some interest in that.
So the events that we would want to present and go forward with, they're totally on board with continuing to...
All of our signature events are already on the books and will remain for 2024 already.
Because what I could see from a budgetary standpoint is like, well, they're not part of us. Cut that.
There's always that risk.
Sure.
But I'll be honest, Wade, we weren't able to, we could have hobbled along in the pace we're going, but we were looking at the landscape of businesses going forward, not being able to sustain a chamber in the model that it's designed to do, and we might have lost me. Because 2023 was rough. So this is a much better version. They also get me in this equation, and I'm well connected in the community. They needed that connection as well as also all of the skill set that I bring for advocacy, education, engagement, all those things, economic development as well.
So part of my concern with it is this: we have an issue with Conroe's ETJ pushed up against us, right? That they pushed right up against us, and now our Chamber of Commerce isn't even in Montgomery. It's a Conroe Chamber of Commerce. So we have, from a public aspect or from a third party looking in, our own chamber now has said, oh yeah, we're going to support the Conroe ETJ. So we already have a hard time, we're going to have a hard time pushing back on Conroe to push them back away from us. And now with the opinion of, just the public opinion of, well, we don't even have our own chamber, we're going to use Conroe. So let's go ahead and let Conroe push harder on us. Even though it's not governmental, it is still the public opinion or just the view that it gives up, and it's not a good view. And it makes it much more difficult for us as a city to push back on Conroe, who has in the past and still, they're very parasitic and just reach as far as they can reach.
But they can't take any of your ETJ.
No, they
It's
can't,
yours.
we can't push back, even though they pushed all the way up to our city limits,
Yeah.
where we're supposed to have a certain amount of space, they have pushed us right up to our side.
I think he's talking about distinction. You know,
Right.
we're no longer,
And as we grow,
Separate.
we would be able to push back, but now they're gonna say, oh no, it's the same. It's not the same, right? This is Conroe's overreach again.
I understand your perspective there. There is a distinction between the chamber and the city government, but I understand where you're coming from and concerned. Have you felt that already in a month's time?
It's not the month, it's the view that it gives us over time, right? So when we, as a city, as we grow and we need to be able to push back, we won't have that leverage of, we have our own business identity, we have our own Montgomery identity. Oh, no, you're part of Conroe. We're not part of Conroe, and I don't want to be part of Conroe.
One of the things that we can take advantage of from the economic development side is a stronger relationship for the economic development office for things that could land in Montgomery that may not make sense in Conroe proper. So maybe we can flip that conversation and make it a more positive opportunity to attract businesses here. Since I have not been with this board since 2018, I don't see what comes down from the governor's office. I am not privy to any of the opportunities that we could have landed, but having the opportunity and more time on my hands from not doing all of the things to keep a business operational, now I will have more opportunity on the economic development side to even be supportive to this board, even though I'm not a part of this board. You still have me as an advocate.
So
And I'm
Shannon, you
part of
said
you.
basically, you still be an advocate for the city of Montgomery and the current members, but you want to be a part of the Conroe Chamber just to be exposed to some of the tools they have to grow the chamber, because right now, you say our chamber was at almost a slow crawl. So with this will help you as far as reaching the businesses here.
Absolutely. I think the Welcome Center will go a long way for our presence and to have a name to identify with and a point of contact that won't have the name Conroe written across it. I think that that identity and that presence will really be a help.
The way I look at it is, it's kind of like Amazon. You start out as a Prime member and you get 2-day shipping and wow, that's really cool. And then all of a sudden they add video and then they add games and then they add a few other, because they have a footprint that's rather large. And so with, Casey, I don't disagree with the perspective or the optics, let's call it, but I don't think that's reality. I think the reality is that our chamber here in Montgomery, we're growing, but the chamber really did not have the bandwidth to really pull in the level of resources that it needed to be able to adequately serve this community. And what I'm seeing I thought it was a very positive move to say, okay, we're going to join forces and we're going to use the, let's just call it the backbone resources of the chamber in Conroe, but we're going to keep Shannon, and Shannon is the chamber in Montgomery and her team, and that outreach that she does and that networking that she does and those things, and we're going to give her more bandwidth to be able to not focus on the minutia, but focus on the possibilities, along with having this big chamber behind them that has lots of resources, and like you said, might bring additional businesses from the Conroe area now that we're all part of one team. So I think it's a good thing. I don't see it as being a negative thing, and that's just my opinion. So I'm excited about that. Can I ask you a question about Winefest? Yeah. Was it profitable? Is it something that we should consider?
Well, over the years, it made it 16 years. One of the challenges, I'll be very candid with you, but also very respectful. Having large events in the historic downtown is beyond logistically challenging. Not to mention, you add in regulation. So the last time we were downtown was 21, and sadly, that was the perfect storm year to destroy that event. It really was a challenging year. Regulation-wise, obviously we want security. I noticed in the notes from last month you were asking if police is too expensive. It isn't about that. All of the regulation on top of everything was more expensive, but not having a fence at our event, and I'll just remind you, in 2013, 14, we did ask the question of should we fence that event? And at the request of Dave, who was on council at the time, get 100% buy-in from downtown, and we canvassed the entire downtown, and it was 100% no. They didn't want to be in or they didn't want to be out. Both ways were not acceptable, and we honored that. And so we just reorganized the event so that we could continue to keep that going. But without having a gate pass of some sort, it was always going to get upside down at some point.
So the wristband thing didn't work as good, or it was okay, but not so much?
That was to purchase alcohol, but we were finding that the percentage of people that were actually spending money on alcohol compared to those who were coming in for a free great concert, and we continue to want to do things with excellence and step up our game because of consumer trend and expectation. It just continued with expenses, but we could never recover those costs.
What about vendors? How did the vendors do? Not great, or kind of, sort of?
Yeah, I mean, of course, gypsy vendors are going to do great, but here's the thing, Jeff. Our heart has always been that people discover our businesses downtown. And it breaks my heart when the businesses can say to me that that isn't a good day for them or things don't go well in a high-traffic day like that, or when people are stealing from them or vandalizing their property. Gypsy vendors is fine, but they aren't keeping our lights on at the city. They are here one day. So they're not our priority.
That's a good point.
Yes.
In my opinion, in regards to that, because Conroe, again, I don't want to rely on Conroe, but they've got it figured out. They do these events year in, year out.
Catfish Festival.
Yeah, and that shouldn't be the people that occupy space here today, that shouldn't be their high moment. Because that's getting them focus that they normally wouldn't have. It's getting them attention that they normally would. It shouldn't be that our sales are beyond the roof because of that one event. It should be that they're actually getting focus and
Who are you
exposure.
talking about, Wade?
Any of the
Businesses.
tenants and businesses.
Not the transient tenants, but the regular
Right,
ones?
correct, the regular tenants.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that, oh, my sales are beyond belief because we had an
One-day
event here.
yeah.
You know? It's getting them exposure.
Exactly, yeah.
And
It's a marketing tool.
It's a marketing tool. And so for them to say, no, you're not having an event in our downtown it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
It's the city is catering to, we're not going to do anything here because 3 or 4 tenants screamed and yelled because the ones that are most negative are the ones that everybody hears. Always. And that's the ones that everybody gets attention to and everybody cowers down to them and says, okay, we will do whatever you say to do.
Yeah.
That's not how Tom Wall's got it figured out, Magnolia has it figured out, Conroe has it figured out, and we're still saying, okay, we'll do whatever y'all say to do.
Well,
That's
quick
not
question.
that's not how you do it.
I mean, since you've got the,
I mean, there's no, excuse me, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Real quick, there's no reason why Winefest should have gone north of town, ever. Winefest should have been downtown the entire time.
Yeah.
Every event that we do should be in downtown Montgomery. It shouldn't be at a baseball park or at YMCA. I mean,
so Shannon, we're grateful for your spankings. We would like to learn.
no, this isn't against Shannon at all.
No, I'm saying.
She and I have talked about this
Because when
numerous
it
times.
moved, I think, 25 people showed up.
It doesn't matter about that.
There
What
was
I
more than that, though. That's a mischaracterization.
It was a bad
Sorry.
rain and everything
All right,
else.
so the question on the last agenda was, is the Montgomery Chamber of Commerce doing Winefest again? And I said, let me reach out to Shannon and find out. So as soon as I left her, I texted her, and she said, no, we're not doing it again. So I'm glad you're here, because I'd like to know if it's something worth continuing, because I always thought it was a phenomenal event.
I thought it was too.
And I think it is who our town is. I mean, it's cool. And we should get some of the wine vendors, the Whitleys and the Barnharts and some of the other wine makers around the area to come together and let's create a real wine fest with real Texas wines and Montgomery wines.
The last one I attended, there was 3,000 people in downtown. I mean, and the band's playing everything. I mean, that's the kind of event you want.
About 21, I think.
Yeah, it's not listening to 2 or 3 people scream and yell because they got blocked off.
But I understand, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but I understand, but here's what I'm asking you. Is this something that the Montgomery Chamber / Conroe Chamber might be willing to help us coordinate with their expertise so that if we were to put something together and with your, like I said, your great knowledge, be able to help us maybe migrate those minds and find best practices to where we can make it a success, because it's a great event. It's a great event. It's like your Freedom Fest.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't think anything is off the table. I will say that we have to really have a better discussion than this forum, because I've already taken way too much time, so I apologize. The challenges are legitimate, and they haven't even been tapped into today. And as a consumer, you may have one opinion, but until you are walking a mile in the shoes of putting on that event, then you'll see the challenges I'm talking about. And it's not people yelling. You have to have permission for property. You have to have all kinds of layers of participation. Volunteerism has fallen way off. If you get a bad star rating, that reflects on the town, and I take that very seriously. And so it was tipping all the way down, that we weren't able to offer that experience that you expect and you have in mind. So if we can tackle those challenges, then absolutely we can come back with some ideas. Does it need to be 10,000 people in a historic district? Perhaps not, and it could still be wonderful.
Yeah, I think as soon as you get a brick and mortar welcome center in that area, I think the presence obviously will start defining you as the Montgomery Chamber again, but it'll also interact with the people that are down there too, to see that, hey, this is a good thing. We got people stopping by that want a brochure, they want a map, wayfinders.
Shane, you know as well as I do, it's all about relationships, everything in life. And so I think that the Welcome Center is a great idea. I think that collaboration is going to be beneficial to all of us. I don't see the chamber as, I totally get the optics, what Casey's saying, but I don't think that the chamber has much less power than the political side of things and the power grabbers and the property grabbers and all those folks. And so I think we just need to focus on trying to find a better way for the businesses in the area, which is that's what our call is. And the only way we can do that is to get some collaboration. And right now, it sounds like you've at least made the beginnings of a start to get some collaboration. I'm excited about that. Okay, so let's is that you're done? Okay, good. Not good, but thank you. I'm sorry. Okay, all right, so that's it for public comments, and we've got a few items to get through here. So we're going to start with the consideration and possible action of February 20th, 2024 regular and annual minutes. Do we have any objections, any comments on the minutes? Yes, no, maybe? Can I hear a motion to accept the minutes?
Make a motion to accept the minutes of February 20th, 2024.
Second.
Okay, so it has been motioned and seconded that we accept the minutes of February 2024. This motion is amendable, debatable, and it requires a majority vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, so the motion carries, and we will accept the minutes, regular annual meeting of February 20, 2024. Item number 2, consideration and possible action on the approval of a $500 sponsorship for the 2024 March 4th, our military.
March 4th.
But it's not on March 4th because that's already passed.
I see what you did there.
It almost did it to me. Okay, and so that item's open for discussion. Anybody got any comment?
I
Dave?
did have one question about that. With the sponsorship, are there banners or anything that represents the city for our donation?
Yes.
Okay.
He's rucking already.
I'm Travis Wilson, owner of Outfleet Performance and AEP Outdoors. To answer your question, yes, we will have the historic, the logo that we've used last year as well on the banner at Ransom Steakhouse.
Okay.
So I think it might be on the t-shirt as well. I'm not 100% sure. My wife did all that.
Okay. Let's see, any other questions? What is your name, by the way?
Travis Wilson.
Hi, Travis.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too. Thanks for coming. I think
pleasure.
that's cool when folks have a request, but they show up. That means something to us, so thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Travis, can you just explain it again a little bit? I know y'all have done this in the past, right?
We have. This will be our 3rd year. Yeah, absolutely. So it's March for our military. I'm a retired Green Beret. I did 21 years in the service and found Montgomery and moved here. I'm originally from Wichita Falls, definitely never going back there. But came here, brought our business here, which is a supplement, a nationally known brand, supplement nutrition company, where we sell to other stores throughout the nation. We started doing really well in that we wanted to start our own nonprofit, AEP Outdoors, and take special operations, primarily special operations veterans, because it's a smaller footprint, on adrenaline outdoor adventure trips. Mental health, outdoors, it's a gap that I'm trying to fill from other nonprofits that I also work with. I'm also the director of mission and program delivery at the Green Beret Foundation. But we take special operations locally, last year we took 2 local veterans that weren't special operations to Cabo, which we do in June. They get 2 days of sport fishing with a day in the middle of fellowship so that the veterans can spend time together, talk about things that they can't talk about around their spouses or people that just don't know or that didn't serve.
Right.
So we also do monthly heli hog hunts out in Temple, Texas, so we also help out the farmers out there that require those services, request those services to kind of eradicate the pigs and coyotes from their farms. And then our big one, we choose one veteran to go to Africa. And last year we chose a female, one of the first few females chosen into, you're probably familiar with Delta Force, it's called CAG, Combat Action Group now. Right. She was one of the first few females recruited into their G Squadron, their intelligence squadron. And we took her to Africa and she hunted 10 game plains animals. She got 7. But that's what we raise money for, and we just take, like, she went back to a continent where, you know, she had a traumatic experience, and we took her back to this continent so that she could get over that.
Release some of that, yeah.
Get rid of a lot of that, you know, and it's things that I've learned. I learned on a bear hunt, you know, and sitting around a campfire with a bunch of other guys having campfire, you know, therapy, and found it to be wonderful. It was probably some of the best therapy I've ever had, so.
I think that's awesome, man. Well, I think what you're doing is remarkable, really, to be honest with you. I mean, those of us who have not served or don't really know people who have in the regard that you have, certainly will never understand, you know, the types of things that you've had to deal with. So we're grateful for that, and we hope that we can be, you know, part of your continued service and recovery. So thank you for that. Just one more question about the event itself. How many guys typically, or guys and gals, participate in this?
Well, you know, the first year was about 100, last year was about 130, and this year, I don't know what the deal is. People just aren't registering, but I'm about to, we gave Grand Harbor, where I live, 50% off discount, and I think we'll probably be about 100 at the end of the week, and then we have another week to really push it. But I really want a lot more
something like F-45, some of the gyms, maybe?
Oh, yeah, I've tapped into all those folks as well. It's just a sign of the times, the economy right now.
I'm here.
And I get it.
Where do y'all do it?
Yeah, please show up. You don't have to have a rucksack.
I mean, where do you?
Here in Montgomery.
The event.
Oh, yeah, we start and end at Ransoms. It's an easy 5K through historic downtown Montgomery, and but if you do want to come, you don't have to wear a ruck.
Sure. Now, is that where they used to do like the mud ruck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
All right, well, man, thank you. Thank you for everything, and thanks for coming up today. It's great to hear when you actually, I've always wondered about the event, but we've never really had a chance to connect with you, so thanks for doing that today.
Yeah, the last 2 years, it just kind of, you guys hooked us up, and nobody ever asked us to show up. I didn't even know about this, so thanks for the invite.
Well, we're glad to have you today. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Well, okay, so do we have any?
I'm sorry, you can come over here. I want to get your name and your organization. My brother has a charity in Montana that does similar. They go do fishing trips on Fort Peck, the reservoir on the Missouri. And I'll hook you guys up because he has similar stuff with them. Veterans up there.
All right. So the grant request is for, let me see, $500. All right, so any other comments? Yes, no, maybe? All right, so we can entertain motions at this time.
Make a motion to approve the $500 sponsorship grant for the 2024 March Our Military.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we accept and approve the $500 sponsorship for the 2024 March for Our Military. This motion is amendable, debatable, and it requires a majority vote. And all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, so the motion carries. We'll be there to help you this year as well. Let's see here. So we've got item number 3, consideration possible action on an economic development grant for a proposed outdoor wall mural at the North Houston Art Gallery located at 14259 Liberty Street in historic downtown. Is there anybody?
Yes, we do have the owner here, but just real quick, I'll give you a quick overview and ask if you have any questions in the packet, and we'll turn it over to
Be happy to. What is your name?
My name is Rebecca Noriega.
Yes.
Okay,
Can I read-
so the question I have is the picture that's in our packet, is that like a representation of the actual artwork, or is that just a rough draft?
That is the representation of the artwork that was done by Amy McLean. And she is a well-known mural artist here in the city. She is from Montgomery and have done several murals in Conroe. However, she did allow some contingency in her estimate in the event that the city requests any modifications to the mural. So this is our proposal, which depicts very similar an element of what we were told that that property was many years ago. We included an Exhibit A in the package that really kind of give a background with regards to why we thought the mural will be a great addition for the city of Montgomery. We have in our possession 3 tokens that were given to us by the prior owner of that building, Kurt and Emily Jones, and they were given that from the prior owner. These were tokens that Mr. Donald Duncan and his brother found on that property. And with history that they received on the token was that that property used to be a station where citizens will come in, leave their horses, were given a token, and those tokens were residue from our prior history. With many people, including ourselves, who have been living in the city for the past 8 years, never knew about that portion of history. The museum, through the historical city, found out that those tokens were given to us, and they approached us and asked us if we would give the tokens to the museum, which we are scheduled to do on April the 20th. So in conjunction with that, we thought it would be a great opportunity for us as owners of the building, current owners of the building, to invest in creating this mural as part of the history for the downtown area. So we are asking the board if they would contribute, as we know that, throughout the curricula for high schools, there is a lot of activities that go on in terms of educating our young youths about our history. And I think we don't want that history to be lost about that building. So we will collaborate with Amy, with the board, with the city, to get this mural up, which really depicts, somewhat a carriage coming in, an exchange of a token, the fact that it was told to be a Liberty token, have that on the building, indicate that it was activities around it being a stable, along with, of course, making sure that it's the Texas flag, right, where the flag was created. So if there's any other changes that the board would like done to this mural, Amy will incorporate those changes to make it happen, if
So
approved.
will this be part of our wayfinder also? Right?
Will it have any lights on it that at night?
We were not planning on installing light, but if that is something that, the city will approve, we would be happy to do that. And again, we as owners are taking the cost to create this memory.
That's your favorite color.
Well, that's wonderful when you can display history itself. I think that's cool.
I think it looks good.
Well, it also tries to preserve and make it
I don't mind it.
it also ties
Yeah.
more to downtown,
It looks good.
because it is offset.
Only issue is something built next to the clip art.
Clip arty?
No, it looks.
It's okay.
Well, that was my one concern, is that it's a little cartoonish, but I like the depiction.
So do you have, how does that get applied?
I'm sorry, say that again?
How does it get applied? Is it
Paint?
Is it, I mean, does someone actually do an artist rendering, or do they?
So Amy McLean is a mural artist. She's a professional mural artist that have been doing this for many years, and I said she grew up in the city. So she is very much familiar with the fact that, you know, with the city requirements, etc. She has several murals in downtown Conroe, so that's one of the reasons why we chose her, is because of the fact that she is local. She grew up, she went to school here, and she owns a business, and this is part of what she does professionally.
Yeah, I think the worry was it's an application that's just,
Right.
you know, kind of just like a sticker almost, you know.
No, it's not going to be, it's not, no, it's
It's an actual person
going to be
person
painted,
painted.
yes.
It's an actual person.
Exactly.
So the painting is actually on the building, or is there a canvas that goes in front of it?
No,
or
it's painted
onto the building?
onto the
Kind of what it
building.
looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should have it. You've got like 65 pages.
Well, yeah.
Put that small tree out today.
Yeah, it's just to make sure it doesn't look cartoonish, you know, it looks,
Yeah, that was our concern too, because, you know, we certainly don't want that to be the appearance.
Right.
And, you know, based on her work in the downtown Conroe area, it is absolutely stunning.
Okay.
And, you know, we would, you know,
Ms.
pretty
Maria,
much.
I do have one quick question.
Oh, go ahead.
Can you maybe just share with us, doesn't have to be right this second or anything, but some of the artwork that maybe she's done in the past? Does she have a website?
Absolutely.
Does she have a
Yes,
website?
yes, I would be happy to send to
Yeah.
Dave
Just-
some of the work that are in downtown
That's fine.
area.
Yeah, that's fine.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes. And
And
downtown
Dave
Conroe.
can forward it to the rest of us here. I don't have any questions, Carol, do you? I mean, I love anything that brings attention to our history. I just think it's such a fun place.
it's one of those Instagrammable moment kind of.
Everybody's gonna wanna stand in front of it. They're like, I don't know what it is, but it says Texas and it's right here.
Well, and it could be part of the QR code Wayfinder type
Sure
setup,
could.
to where when you
Yeah.
come in, you've got this
Yeah.
location you need to look at, or
Yeah, I mean,
Treasure hunt.
it's the one thing that's missing in our downtown area. Thank God somebody wants to paint something on the side of a building because.
Could you repeat a little bit more about the artifacts that was found?
The tokens?
Yes.
The tree tokens, a little bit of the history.
Yeah.
So it is, again, it's in your package, Exhibit A. Gotta get my glasses. But just to kind of read through some of the information that was given to us on it. So basically, Miss Betsy Price Owen, who is a noted Montgomery, Texas history teacher and historian, confirmed that the token that was found by Donald and Bill Ray Duncan, they are engraved, the token are engraved 18, 19, and 4, and I believe copies of the token are included in the package as well. Actual Liberty Stable tokens used on the lot of 14259 Liberty Street, Montgomery, Texas. These claimed tokens were found, and they were given to the Gaines family, who built the current structure on the lot. And then it was given to Kurt and Emily, and then to us.
Yeah.
Does that become gold?
And it will be presented to the museum on April the 20th.
Right here.
I mean, does that become gold?
I don't think so, even if it's just a pale blue and white. We were just talking about maybe make sure the Texas flag actually was, you know,
had some color in it.
yeah, has some color.
Oh, you want some, okay.
Very, very subtle.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to pop like
Yeah.
crazy red and
So
blue.
sort of muted the way the
Just
green.
muted, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like the green of the trees, kind
Yeah.
of just a muted
Yeah.
color.
Kind of like a faux color?
Yeah, red, blue,
I like
yeah.
the black and white.
But the black and white, everything else.
Everything's black and white.
Yeah, it's really cool.
But just a
Something
little
just kind of
color.
stands out
Okay.
a little bit, yeah.
Make it
Got it.
catch your eye when you're going through
It's a
there.
good point to note, just as a housekeeping item, as with other improvements in the historic district, if the board chooses to fund a part of the mural, the next step would be to go to the Planning and Zoning Commission, which is the first week in April. So in terms of the design, the Planning and Zoning Commission is going to have the final say over.
Yeah, okay.
You know, what's allowed, what's approved in downtown, I just wanted to.
Well, I mean, we can entertain a motion. I think it's a great idea, but is the rest of the board in favor?
Absolutely.
All right, so let's make a motion and move on to the big one.
I make a motion to approve the resolution for the grant for a proposed outdoor wall mural at the North Houston Art Gallery located at 14259 Liberty Street.
I second.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded that we accept the proposed outdoor wall mural at the North Houston Art Gallery on 14259 Liberty Street in historic downtown. This is amendable. I'm sorry.
And I need to add in the amount of.
Oh, in the amount of $1,400?
$300.
300?
$1,300.
$1,300. Thank you.
that
It's
right?
been- Yes, that's correct.
That's what's on here.
Yeah, that's what's on. It's been motioned and seconded that we accept the the grant application for the proposed outdoor wall mural at the North Houston Art Gallery located at 14259 Liberty Street in historic downtown in the amount of $1,300. This motion is amendable or debatable, but it requires a majority vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, the motion carries. We will be funding that as long as the PTZ says it's okay, right? Okay, so item number 5.
4.
4. I thought we were on 5. Okay, so consideration and possible action on a McCown Street improvement project update. Can I get I don't understand what, go ahead.
I'll just make a comment on this, based on the public comments earlier. 4 and 5 are two separate items. 4 and 5 don't have anything to do with each other. So I know Cheryl had asked about the one-way. That is actually item 4. Item 5 does not change the flow of traffic.
So this is narrowly limited to the McCown Street Improvement Project. Page 28 of your packet shows the original project area. As you guys will recall, back in August of last year, it was a joint workshop. I think some of the council was there, but it was at the EDC meeting. So,
Yeah.
so I don't want to speak and then get accused of saying that I'm somewhere or saying there's workshops that don't exist. This was at an EDC meeting on August the 21st. The board wanted to pause the project to let us sort out the question of access through the old Montgomery Steakhouse parking lot. If we're going to put a plaza in the middle of the street and either totally block or partially block our cars that are moving up and down the county, we've got to put them somewhere. So right after the Fall Fest, or whenever that was that year, I sat down with Wayne at the steakhouse. At the time, Wayne had no issue with the idea of it. He said, look, I can't, give it to the city for free, but I'm open. I'm sure we can come to something. Fast forward several months later, there was some feedback from some either on council or from the board who said, oh, well, I've talked to Wayne, and Wayne is, Wayne's definitely not interested. So Gary and I sat down with Wayne. They were right. He is no longer interested in doing anything with the city. So outside of, he would be willing to sell us the entire, restaurant and everything, which the city does not need. So that leaves us with two options. The most palatable solution is to rethink that plaza in the middle of McCown Street.
So is item number 4, I think, if my memory serves, and I don't know if it does really, to be honest with you, but I thought we were going to get a response or some kind of feedback from the design group as to what the best practices may end up looking like.
We told them to pause the project.
Okay, so we paused.
Until we worked out internally whether or not it sounds like we could get that access through the steakhouse parking lot.
Okay, so we're not doing, that's off the table now, right?
Right.
Okay.
So we're not going through the steakhouse parking lot anymore, and it's not worth trying to condemn or anything else. That'd be absurd.
Of course.
So we need to look at what are we going to do about the plaza that the Downtown Design Master Plan had in the middle of McCown Street.
That's what number item 4.
Which leads to the traffic flow and circulation on McCown. You got a couple options. You can keep it the way it is today, with cars going north and south. You might have enough room for a 3-foot sidewalk on both sides. You may not. You got a 50-foot or so right of way in there. The other option, option A, which is what at least I'm recommending to you tonight, is to consider making from College to Caroline one-way north on McCown Street. Anytime you're talking about right-of-way, you're just talking about numbers. You're talking about the width of the right-of-way and what do I have to put in it. Well, if you put 2 12-foot wide lanes in there, you've chewed up, a good portion in the road.
That makes sense.
So you're left with less space to devote to the public or, to a pedestrian space. So
How did the tenants in that area feel about a one-way street?
do not know. All the parking on that street is angled north, like you would have to be coming from the south to get in the parking.
So my suggestion is this, is we don't angle park. We block off the driveway into the steakhouse, so you can't drive through. You make perpendicular parking and you push it all the way to every inch that the city can take, right up to the edge of both properties on both sides, and you have perpendicular parking. And they can come in and go out the same way.
It'd take an attorney to know, but I think if we killed his driveway, they're probably gonna look at us as a taking.
Well, I thought
But
on the original concept that we had looked at, years ago, it was primarily going to be, we were going to do a walkable space down there, but still have traffic.
Right.
And be able to block it off with some type of a system when they had events.
So you can still treat the pavement where the cars go in the middle of the block. You can still treat that differently. So if you wanted to close off, whether it's a traffic table, which is sort of like a speed bump, it's just a really, really long and flat speed bump, right? You see these a lot when, if you've been into downtown Houston, coming off of, I think it's the McKinney exit, from 45 north, you cross a crosswalk that's raised up just about 6 inches above, the space. And again, without getting too far into traffic calming measures, you can still treat the design of the pavement and the materials in a way that would allow us to periodically, as we do now, close McCown and have a nice, sort of a pedestrian-friendly or, appealing pavement as opposed just to asphalt or concrete.
You'd more than, you could quadruple the parking down there if you had a one-way street. I know it's not a popular thing, but it's something to consider because like you said, you're only going one way. So I was just in Dallas recently at their farmers market, and this is exactly what they did. They just had one-way streets going up and down with perpendicular. Well, theirs wasn't perpendicular. Theirs was more of an angle parking, similar to what we have here now. And it was really easy to get in and out of that area because you didn't have to, you knew which way people were coming from.
Right, they weren't coming the other way.
Yeah, and so, and they could get a lot of cars in a small amount of space on one road. So it looks like that's kind of the way for these types of things. And what's our number one concern downtown? Parking.
Oh, absolutely.
We have to have parking. So you can't put a square down
We
here
have
and,
plenty of parking downtown.
we do?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
During events?
Parking.
Well, that's the thing.
Unless it's an event, then you tell them where to park.
Right, well, they
But
wouldn't be
otherwise,
parking in there at all.
there's plenty of
I
parking.
mean, in an event, there's not going to be no parking there anyway, so.
Go ahead and
that's a
table
moot
number
point.
4 until we're sure what's happening with that property that is around and connects to McGowan Street.
And get a design or some type of an artist rendition of what they're talking about and talk to the tenants down there and find out what.
Well, okay, so at some point, we got to get these guys back on track again, right?
Well, I'm not for a one-way street tonight, so I'll vote against the one-way street.
Now, keep in mind that this board will not make a decision on whether
The
the street
street,
is one way or not. You're affecting the design direction of the team. The city council is ultimately going to.
That's right.
make a final decision on accepting the plan. So-
I'm voting
The table.
to table number 4 for one, at least till the next meeting.
So Dave, what's the, if we blocked all of McCowan for that one block?
I'm sorry,
If you just blocked the whole thing off?
just close the street.
Yeah, close it at Caroline.
Why would you do that?
Well, you
What
have
is
to-
the benefit
Have businesses.
of
Well,
closing?
then you
the
don't have to worry
street?
about, if you want your walking and you don't want one way and you don't want traffic problems, well, you won't have any.
The only time I walk that street, and I have lived here X amount of years, I walk it on a Thursday night.
Right, and I
And the
understand
cars
that.
are coming and going, and I can still get down that
Right.
street. Have, will,
But
Well,
that's
no
because it's
problems.
not designed for walking, right? The ultimate goal is to get it so that the businesses, these buildings that are along here is to have the deckway. Those buildings will probably at one point split in half and be multiple businesses, right? The whole point of the concept is to have more businesses instead of this business with the back door that looks like an alleyway. You're going to have a business on one end and a business on the other, right? So you're optimizing your square footage.
So what are you suggesting, Casey?
Well, I'm just.
You like option A or B?
Well, if my whole thing is if the business owners don't want us to drive through the parking lot, that's fine. We'll block the parking lot. He still has 2 ways in and out, right? We're not doing anything except for saying, look, we want to be able to make it safe for people to walk, right? But if that doesn't work, then you block the whole damn street and say, look, walk where you want, do what you want.
Well, if you block the street up, I think there could be a mild revolt. I don't think that's going to be a good business.
No, that wouldn't be feasible.
But I'm not totally, I don't, I've seen this in action with the one-way street and it works great. But I'd like to hear Carol's reasoning why she doesn't like it.
the one-way street.
Yeah.
Montgomery's too little. Why do you need a one-way street downtown Montgomery, Texas? Tell me that.
Well,
Why?
even the smallest of towns have one-way streets. The smallest areas have one-way street. It just, it's more of a safety thing than anything else.
One ways don't have to deal with
For
size. It has to
who?
deal with the size of the
Well,
street
and
you're trying to drive on.
if you're
mean,
going to
the
put a
walking,
fest, if it's
the
going,
what?
no, if it's going to work with our design, that we already all agreed
Right.
that is a good design, we need to keep the traffic flow in one direction, not two. You got two directions, you got when you're trying to get across the street, where you got one direction, you know which way to look. I'm not saying that it's 100% the best idea, but
Right.
based on what we have, I don't know if there's a better idea, I guess is what
Well, the original concept was to obviously have traffic flow, but then also have curbside seating and
Yeah,
outdoor
right.
dining or whatever, that type of deal.
But you
So-
get more
And that's
space
not
with
happening.
one way.
You would,
you
I
can't
agree,
do
you
that
don't need
with
3 feet.
two-lane
The
traffic.
table's not going to fit on.
And that's the only thing I'm thinking, Carol, if we could put more sidewalk space, more walking space, more Del Frisco dining, or more, just something to give it a little more culture, a little more
Well, but the
ambiance.
safety aspect of it, though, if there's something going on where there's a bunch of people walking, it's closed anyway. There is no traffic.
Exactly, yeah, I agree. So it's not like it's going to be a big, I just don't see it being a big deal. I mean, anyway, but I'll table it if you guys want to table it. I mean, I just, we keep kicking the can down.
I would rather see it one way than block it all.
I don't know why we would.
Why would we table?
We can take a vote on it, and then if you wanted to, and we.
That's
make
the
a
whole
decision.
problem with these meetings, we table and keep kicking.
I'm not in favor of tabling anything. I want to move on.
Yeah, that's-
These gentlemen have been waiting on us.
So let me ask you, is it
They
up,
get paid good.
is it up to
Wait on this.
one, is it up to one property owner how we handle this?
No, and that's my whole point.
It's not.
No, it's not
Okay.
a common property.
Okay.
No, we're not
But we're
doing it
listening
because
to
of
it.
one
Well,
property
that's
owner.
my whole point is that we just need to make a decision on what
Right.
we as a city want it to be,
Correct.
right?
You gotta make a goal, you gotta make an objective.
Well,
and move
What
forward.
do we want? That's
Hey,
the
Dave,
point.
ultimately, does the city council and the PTC have to get involved and make the final decision on this?
Right-of-way stuff, typically, yes, as I did mention, city council will approve the final plan, and so the city's not going to move forward with something that the city council doesn't want to do.
Right.
The planning and zoning really doesn't get into, a specific approval
Okay.
of it, but we've looped them in, periodically throughout the downtown design project, and we'll continue to do so.
How long have we been talking about McAllen? Forever? Okay, let's move forward.
It was before my beer was great.
Let's move forward. Enough's enough.
Let's at least put it out for a vote, and then, and this is just to release the design team to get moving along on one of these two options,
If this
correct?
city is ever going to move forward, you got to move forward, and we're not doing anything
Exactly.
that's prolonging.
Well, we can vote on it then.
Yes, let's do it.
All right, so someone needs to make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Reconsider.
How's this going to be worded?
So what is the project update? Is it to propose the one-way, Dave? That's what the deal is?
Right, is to give the design team the direction on what this board wants to see in the street in terms of options with the street, because the plaza is no longer one. So the two options are on the street are one-way traffic, two-way traffic.
So we're going to give them, the motion is to let them complete a design that would show us the options for those two.
Right, whichever option we select, they're going to continue their design work
Okay.
based on.
So we're not giving a final approval with anything other than.
Other than for them to move forward and
next
just
step.
wrap this design thing up, yeah. Okay, all right, so that's the motion, the consideration on option A.
Option, one-way or two-way?
One way?
It's either a one-way or a two-way. That's the two designs.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve option A for one way.
By second?
Anybody second?
Okay, so it's been motion that we accept option A on the consideration of possible action on McCowan Street improvement project. It's been seconded. This is amendable, debatable, and requires further discussion, but it also requires a majority vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4 ayes and 1 no, and 5, that would be me?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't count my eye.
Yeah, you vote.
Okay, then, yeah. So the motion carries, and we will go ahead and move forward with option A on the one-way street improvement. These guys know what they can
To put
do.
it on, to get a design drawn,
Yep,
to bring it to the council.
right. Yeah, that's the next phase anyway. Okay, all right, so this was the fun one. All right. Number 5. Consideration possible action on a on-street parking concept for the southern portion of McCowan Street on MEDC-owned property.
Board of Directors, this, just to clarify, is not within that project scope or the project area that we just talked about. This is something different. On Tuesday, I guess it was right after the council meeting, Casey asked me what it would take to bring this idea to the MEDC. So I told him we didn't have a lot of time to put it together because it was new to me. But I would get it on the agenda to bring it up for discussion. So with that, I'll turn it over to Casey to let him talk about it.
All right, so if you look at the pictures that Davis put in there, they're pretty good. So the original plan,
Option B, is that what we're talking about?
No, we're down here on
number 5 now.
number 5.
If you look at the original design concept, it doesn't include any parking on the side of that park. It's designed for a park, and there's no parking in there. So if you look at the line, if you just want to draw straight lines, there's parking behind the Davis house now. My proposal is just extend the parking all the way down that property that the EDC owns, and we block off McCowan like TxDOT wants us to do anyways.
At 105.
Yeah, at 105.
And access to the RE/MAX office is now.
It's still there. You'd still use it.
I don't know why.
How would you get to
That's a
105?
bad habit anyway to get.
Well, that's the
105
thing, is that the RE/MAX office from 105, you ain't getting in there from 105. unless you're coming through the
Nobody's gonna let you in.
Okay?
Right.
You're not getting in right there, because that's a turning lane. But,
So Casey, would we have McCowan Street Okay, I'm just thinking,
So the traffic flow would stay the same. You could go up or down it unless at some point it was to the point of, okay, it's not safe to go up and down it when there's cars parked there. But if we make it, we make the parking lot deep enough, they got enough room to back out, go out, or they can exit out through the Remax parking lot. Either one, back in the way they came or out through the Remax parking lot. But I visited with the engineers briefly about this a week or so ago. He said the drainage has basically been taken care of. There's not much they have to do. The project itself will be relatively inexpensive. When I say inexpensive, 150 or less.
okay. Is that, I mean,
It's not in any of the.
I'm looking, I can't
drawings.
figure out what I'm not seeing.
Because it's not there.
How many of the trees would have to come down?
Yeah, I would hope not.
So there's a sidewalk drawn in there right now. If you look at the cartoons, there's a sidewalk drawn in there. My thought is to move the sidewalk over and line it up with the sidewalk that's coming off the back of the Davis house.
Okay,
But the original street, this picture right here,
yeah.
Yeah, they have the street gone in that picture.
shows the trees, and I don't know where the parking would be.
Well, you gotta take the trees out.
Oh,
They're just old nasty old elm trees anyways. Move them over and plant something worth looking at.
trees. 10 trees along the street.
I'm still not understand why do we need to do this now? I mean, is it, how does this, wasn't this what you were just speaking on?
This is what she talked about that was, where she said it's not part of the plan, and it's not, because the plan just has a sidewalk and a park and that's dead space,
Okay.
right?
We haven't done anything with this piece of property since we bought it.
Nope, not a thing.
All right, so we're talking about developing it into a feasible parking area?
Just move it, yeah, one side of it, so it matches up with the Davis property that's right north of it.
Okay.
Right, there's parking right there now. We just extend that parking all the way down, you pick up about 10 spots, maybe more, but probably 10.
So you're talking about parallel parking coming off of
No.
149 or coming off of
No,
McGowan?
it's on McGowan, it's perpendicular parking or diagonal parking, whatever fits there.
Got it, yeah.
Right, on the side of that lot.
And
That's-
then blocking the end of it going into 105 with some type of a
Whatever.
shrubbery or whatever.
Because the design is to have it as a park anyways,
Right.
but use it. Instead of just being, oh, it's all a big green park, put some parking on one side of it.
Well, it seems like it would fit with the plan that we've already kind of,
Well, it just makes your lines straight.
yeah, it makes the line straight.
Okay.
I don't see anything wrong with that. Is that a good thing?
But it's a cheap, easy win.
Yeah. Okay, so,
The action, if the board wants to move forward with putting together more formal cost proposal and drawings, and then we'll sure do it. But that's.
well, I still believe, I mean, I've been downtown for, I don't know, since 2012, a long time. And parking, it's not always a problem, but I would like for it to become something that we really focus on and try to do our best to maximize. So I'm in favor of at least going forward and look at the feasibility of doing it. If everybody else feels the same way, I think it's a good,
Well, what's that going to change also with the possibility of a purchase of the block?
So it's a block,
Crossing that.
it's actually south of it. It's
Yeah,
not
right, it is
of
south of it, but what's going to
It doesn't
happen
affect that
if that's
property.
purchased? I mean, there's historical and then there's other stuff.
Well, unless he builds out over the street, it doesn't affect that.
Well, no, I agree, but I mean, is that going to be additional parking that would be needed for something that went on over there too?
Right. Well, I mean, it's just additional parking anywhere helps us down there.
Yeah.
agreed.
But the reason I thought it was good is it's basically city-controlled property. We don't have to ask permission. We can move forward with it at will.
Okay, so we want to look at the feasibility, we want to entertain a motion and move forward?
So,
All right. Who wants to make a motion? We don't have a lot of
I guess,
motion.
how would we state the motion? Move forward with the on-street parking concept for the southern portion of McCowan Street?
feasibility.
Yeah, the feasibility of
Move forward
the,
with the feasibility of the on-street parking concept for the southern portion of McCowan.
Okay, any seconds?
I'll second his motion just to look at it.
Okay, so it's been motioned and seconded that we consider a possible action on the on-street parking concept for the southern portion of McCowan Street on MEDC-owned property as a feasibility study. And this motion is amendable, debatable, requires a majority vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
No.
Okay, it's been, we have 5 ayes and 1 no, and the motion carries. Okay, item number 6, consideration possible action on a resolution of the Montgomery Economic Development Corporation providing for the time and place for regular meetings of the Board of Directors. And I believe that we're just are we just earmarking, inking, whatever we got to do, the resolution so that we change it to Tuesday? Is that what I'm understanding?
This keeps the board in compliance. Again, staff's recommendation is just to change your regular standing meeting to Tuesday. The first 2 meetings of the month are conflict with holidays, and again, just the clarity of, every city meeting is on a Tuesday.
Okay,
You may not know if you're coming to one or the other, but you know the meetings are on Tuesday.
I think everybody's in favor, but I like the Tuesday meetings. Carolyn, do you have any problem with it? We're good? Okay. Okay.
Third Tuesday?
Can you get a motion to accept that adjustment, resolution?
I so move.
Okay, second? Second. All right, so we have 1 motion, 2 seconds. Is that a double entendre? For the resolution of the Montgomery Economic Development Corporation to provide for the regular place for regular meetings of the Board of Directors. And we have the resolution to state that it will be on the 3rd Tuesday in each month, I believe? Okay. Although this amendable, debatable, requires a majority vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, the motion carries. And we get to Patricia. The events report, number 7.
Hello.
Hi, Patricia.
Hi. So the first page you'll see there, it'll be the events that were scheduled for March or that have been scheduled for March. So, and then the bottom portion of that report is the events that haven't happened yet for the rest of March. I did include Mudbugs, March for Our Military, and the Easter Card Hop. Those are private events that are happening in the city as well. So I'll follow up with those once they happen. The second page is basically an update on the budget, how much we've been spending throughout that year. So any additional expenses that I've had over any event have been added to it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to help.
I do have a question for you, Patricia. Would you be, and maybe this is a question for Dave, I don't know, but would you be amenable to visiting with Shannon about possibly taking over the Wine Fest for, when is the month of October, correct?
It is in early conversations with Gary. I don't know how we take that over this year. I think that was what I took away from it, but certainly that's a.
Do you think we should just try to push it for 25, you think?
I'm going to stay out of it. I'm going to let Gary decide. I'm going to convey the information to him and let him have
Time to put it together.
Well, my question, yeah, just take time to put it together. My question is, isn't that an MEDC kind of directive, or is that something that we need the city to be on board with?
To a certain degree, right now what we're faced with the resources.
Oh, resources,
So
gotcha.
event the size of Wine Fest with essentially padding to do events is, right now.
She's got a cape, doesn't she? Don't you have a cape?
I lost it.
You lost your cape?
If you have a new one, I'll take it.
Okay.
So resources as far as just security?
Money and people.
Huh?
Time, money, and people.
Volunteers.
So.
What does it take? I'm not trying to pin you down at all, Dave.
Yeah, no, I have no idea what it takes to put on the Wine Fest.
It's been a while since for the city.
What kind of money does it take? What kind of money? I mean, ballpark, what kind of money does it take to put on Wine Fest?
We would raise upwards of $35,000 in just sponsorship dollars to start with. but our full expenses at our largest year was 80,000
And that's,
for everything all in. We buy all of the alcohol and all of those pieces as well.
but you're reselling the alcohol, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Did you break even, or how'd you do on that?
It was dwindling, which is why it was not worth the time that you spend when you think about how many customers come in, what is the cost per person that comes and how much you're spending on that.
Which is,
Just 20 grand alone on marketing, which is one of the biggest challenges now because marketing, the world of marketing to tell the story of WineFest has changed. But I will tell you that we trademarked WineFest. So we owned it. So it won't be WineFest the way it was because we have it trademarked right now.
we
We
mean,
can call it Montgomery Blues Bash, whatever you want to call it,
who's we? The,
Montgomery area chamber.
but they don't exist
okay,
anymore.
but yeah, y'all are Conroe now.
Huh?
Y'all are Conroe now, so.
Yeah, but it's all that paperwork is.
So they own
So Conroe owns the Montgomery Wine Fest, is what you're telling us?
But they own the intellectual property, is what you're saying, of
But
the,
we still own it, so all of that hasn't all finished buttoning up.
but eventually it will become one and they'll have access to those.
So there's no use of WineFest, right?
Even if
All
you
you have
try
to do is change his
to, even
wine
if
beer.
we try.
I mean, we can call it anything.
I understand that. Even taking 1 year off proved to be fatal to
Right.
us. Even taking 1 year off. It's more than you think, so start small even now. I mean, even though we had 16 years track record, it was still not what you think. Or we would have been still doing it, I promise you.
Yeah,
We didn't
okay.
want to say goodbye to anything. We didn't want to say goodbye to downtown, and we didn't want to say goodbye.
I think we just need a new way of thinking about it. And there are people, I mean, I have a lot of experience in events alone. So understanding, the city, knowing the city, getting with you, learning about what went right, what was wrong, what was missing, what was confusing, figuring out how we can do it better, build a better wine fest. And then I think the name is something that we could probably commandeer, with the right persuasion, because guess what? We're all one big family now. So
Right.
it's something that we want to be able to, to continue on doing. And I don't know. Okay, so maybe we just table it for maybe 2025. And by then you'll have 4 of you, because the city will be doing so much better. And MEDC is going to have twice the budget because we're not paying the city. It'll be great.
That's our biggest expense.
All right, that's our number one issue anyway. All right, enough of that. Okay, so now we go to, I'm sorry, are you okay? Are you done? Okay, I'm sorry. Thanks, Patricia. No, we're good. All right, let's go to the last item on the agenda, item number 8, MEDC financial report. And Carol, you're up.
On the first page, you'll see that the amount of sales tax was $145,705.90. Last month was $102, so it did increase in the month of February. And the interest on the tax pool was 5.33%. Other than that, there was very few checks wrote. They were mostly for security, 2 of them. One was for the DJ, and then some items that they purchased for some of the events.
Got it. Okay.
But MEDC is doing good.
MEDC is doing great, yes. Thank you, Carol.
Yes, sir.
I move that, well, I can't move, but somebody else can move that we accept the MEDC financial report. Anybody want to make a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the financial report.
Okay, so who's seconding that? That's you?
I wasn't present, but
Oh, you weren't present, okay.
I'll
I'll second.
All right, so it's been motioned and seconded that we accept the MEDC financial report. This is amendable, debatable, requires a majority vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say, they didn't? Okay, that's good. That's all I have on the agenda. Dave, is there anything else you need to add, or
Not on my end, if there's any board inquiry.
any board inquiries? No? Okay.
My question is what is this?
That is a map.
I understand
It's
that.
a Google map, actually.
I'm looking at this two-way traffic sign right here. It's over on the other side that's,
I'm sorry.
Okay, let me go ahead and close this meeting now. This meeting closes at 7:34 and a half. That's it, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Cheryl. Where's Cheryl? Cheryl's nowhere to be found.
I don't know what that is.
Cheryl had a vapor trail getting out. I think we may